Om Agyantimirandasya Gyananjana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya-manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupakadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutaha Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitamscha He Krishna Deenabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhano Shute Devi Pranamami Haripriya Vanchakalpatarobhyascha Kripa Sindhu Devacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shrivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Can I have some hot water, please? Hare Krishna. Very happy and grateful to be amidst all of you all here today. So today I'm going to be speaking on the role of faith and devotion. So to help us understand this, I'm going to tell you all some very interesting stories, and through these stories we're going to learn the role of faith and intelligence in our spiritual journeys. Let me begin by telling you all three stories of Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva is called as Vishwas Murti. He is the deity of faith. Lord Shiva, in his, if you actually study from the Puranas and the Bhagavatam, you'll find that Lord Shiva cut the heads of three people. He cut the fifth head of Lord Brahma. He cuts the head of Daksha, the son of Brahma. And then he cuts the head of Lord Ganesh, his own son. If you study these three stories, you will start wondering what is wrong with Lord Shiva. He's cutting everybody's head, Something seems to be a very strange phenomena, right? He's cutting, on a head cutting spree. The head represents intelligence, right? Buddhi, we call it. In life, there are two aspects that we need, that our life is primarily ruled by. One is buddhi, which is intelligence, which is the way we use our intelligence, cognitive abilities. And second is faith, our heart. Our head and our heart. Unfortunately, our head and heart are not always in sync, correct? So today we're going to have a little discussion on how one can develop faith. If simply we didn't have intelligence, life would have been so simple, isn't it? Bhakti would have been so simple, isn't it? The problem is that we all have intelligence. And these three stories of Lord Shiva that I'm going to share with you all will help you understand the dichotomy of intelligence and faith. Lord Shiva, when he saw Brahma, Why did Lord Shiva cut off the head of Brahma? Let me explain that first. So Lord Brahma is a very intelligent person. In fact, the scriptures explain that Lord Brahma is made up of only one element. See, we are all made up of 8 elements primarily: earth, water, fire, air, ether, which is the sthula sharir, which is the external elements. And then there is mind, intelligence, and the false ego, which is the sukshma sharir, the subtle body. But Brahma is made up of only one element, and that is intelligence. From top to bottom, inside out, he has only one element, which is intelligence. On top of that, he has 5 heads. Imagine how intelligent he is. The problem with intelligence, the first problem with intelligence is that intelligence leads to attachments. When somebody is very intelligent, they're very creative in nature. But creative people are very attached to their creation. One time, Lord Brahma created a very beautiful girl. And he began to run behind that girl. Lord Shiva realized, what is this? I'm sure you must have all experienced this in your life, right? If there's an artist who paints something, you look at that painting, you can't make head or tail out of it. It just doesn't make sense, you know. You try going and telling the artist what nonsense, what you have drawn. The guy will get wild at you. They will not be able to. If you give creative people feedback, they can't handle it. Why? Because they're attached to their creation, basically. So Lord Shiva saw Brahma created something and he was mad about his own creation. And therefore, Lord Shiva realized this person is too intelligent. I have to decrease his intelligence a little bit. So he cut one of the heads of Brahma. Daksha was a son of Brahma. So the first problem with intelligence is that intelligence leads to attachment to whatever you create. So that's the first problem with intelligence. So Lord Shiva decreased the intelligence a little bit and increased faith a little bit. So how does Lord Shiva increase faith? We'll get to know that over time. But you should understand that whenever Shiva intervenes and cuts off the head of somebody, he's decreasing the intelligence and increasing the faith. Okay. Daksha was a son of Brahma. And being the son of Brahma, he was also a very intelligent person. In fact, the word Daksha itself means expert. So Daksha was very expert in whatever he did. And being such an intelligent person, naturally, there is another problem with intelligence. The second problem with intelligence is pride. Those who are very intelligent are also very proud people, isn't it? So here we are going to find the story of Daksha, where super intelligent person, but he was so proud of himself. So Daksha created a yajna. He organized a fire sacrifice where every great person in the world was invited to be a part of the fire sacrifice. And when Daksha invited everyone, obviously everyone came. And when everyone attended the fire sacrifice of Daksha, it was a very prestigious event to just be there. And Daksha entered the sacrificial arena. As soon as Daksha entered the sacrificial arena, everyone stood up out of respect. So when everyone stood up out of respect, Daksha felt proud. Obviously, the whole world is standing for me. But 2 people didn't stand up that day. One was Brahma, who is Daksha's father. Daksha had no problem with Brahma not standing because he's father. And the second person that didn't stand up was Lord Shiva. Daksha couldn't handle that. Because Shiva was Daksha's son-in-law. Son-in-law not respecting him was too much for him. Whether you are Shiva or whether you are any ordinary son-in-law, it's always a problem. It's a little complicated situation. So Daksha got so angry. He was wild at Lord Shiva for not standing up. And why did Shiva not stand up? The reason Shiva did not stand up was because Lord Shiva stands up out of respect. Whenever he sees in somebody's heart, the Paramatma is very active. All of us have Paramatma in our hearts, right? But not in all our hearts Paramatma is active. In some people's heart, the Paramatma is very active. And in some people's heart, the Paramatma is sleeping. Why? They have not done anything to activate the Paramatma. So when Daksha walked in, Shiva saw whether the Paramatma is active in his heart or no. And he realized the Paramatma is not active at all. So Shiva didn't stand up out of respect. Daksha was so angry and so upset that he disrespected Shiva like anything. All kinds of abusive words right in front of the whole assembly. And Sati, who was the wife of Lord Shiva, who was daughter of Daksha, she felt very sad. She felt very bad that Shiva is going through so much insult because of her. Because Shiva did not want to come for the yajna. Sati forced him literally to come for the yajna. And Sati took it on herself that, Shiva is going through so much insult because of me and my father. So she decided, I don't want this body which was given birth by this father. So she self-immolated herself. She ended her life. When she ended her life, Shiva got wild in anger. And then eventually, as a result of all that, Daksha's head was cut off. So when Daksha's head was cut off, right in the middle of the sacrifice, all the gods approached Lord Shiva and they told him, what is this? Such an auspicious event, a sacrifice going on here. And in the middle of a sacrifice, bloodshed has happened. So it is very inauspicious. Sacrifice has become incomplete. Shiva said, you're wrong. Actually, now the sacrifice is complete. They said, how? Head cutting happened over here, bloodshed happened over here, and how you saying sacrifice got complete? Lord Shiva gave a very interesting answer. He said, whenever any sacrifice happens, there is something called Purna Ahuti. Purna Ahuti is like the last oblations that is poured into the fire. So, Lord Shiva said, the Purna Ahuti happens when in the end of the sacrifice, you pour in this thought that I did it. When you pour that thought into the fire, that's when sacrifice is complete. See, many people do a lot of sacrifices, right? They give charity, they give donations, they do a lot of good things for this world. But after all that, they say, I did it. The moment you say, I did it, you claim that I have done something, the sacrifice is incomplete. The moment you pour that last thought that I did it into the fire, that's when sacrifice is complete. So Shiva said, by cutting off this fellow's head, the sacrifice got completed because that ego is poured into the fire. So the god said, fine, all that is fine, but we need this guy. He's a very important portfolio he's handling. He can't die like that. Lord Shiva said, fine, I'll revive him, but in my own style. Lord Shiva went and got the head of a goat and put it on the body of Daksha and revived Daksha. So when Daksha woke up, he saw himself in the mirror and he saw a goat's head looking back. Goat is not exactly the most beautiful animal, isn't it? I don't think anybody will be proud to have a face of a goat. So Daksha's pride got decreased a little bit and his faith got increased a little bit. Can you believe that somebody has the head of a goat and still able to speak like a human being? A little bit of faith will increase it naturally, isn't it? So then the third person that Lord Shiva cut the head off was Lord Ganesh. So the first head got cut because the head buddhi, the first problem with buddhi is attachment. The second problem with buddhi is pride. There's a third problem with buddhi. When Lord Shiva was out on meditation, he goes for long periods of time for meditation. Parvati Devi, so Sati eventually comes back as Parvati. She gets married to Lord Shiva, and when they were living in the Himalayan mountains, one day Lord Shiva was out for meditation. At that time, Parvati, from the chandan of her body, she created a beautiful child named Ganesh. And she told this boy that I'm going to have a bath. I want you to guard the house. Make sure no one comes in. So Ganesh said very obediently, yes, mother, I'll guard. And he was standing over there guarding the house. At that time, Lord Shiva comes in. Ganesh says, who are you? You can't enter the house. My mother has told me not to allow anyone to enter. Lord Shiva said, not to allow anyone to enter means, it doesn't apply to me. I own the house. So Ganesh said, nothing doing. Your name is not on the list, you can't enter. In Vrindavan, once Krishna was stealing butter in one Gopi's house. And this Gopi caught him red-handed, rather white-handed. Hand was filled with butter. So this Gopi told Krishna, Krishna, why are you stealing butter in my house? Krishna looked at her very innocently. And he tells her, he looks around, he says, oh, this is your house. I thought it was my house. Imagine going to somebody else's house and saying that. The Acharyas explained, actually he was right. Because everything belongs to him only. So when she is saying it is my house, actually everything belongs to him. She is the one who is staying in his house, isn't it? So here Lord Shiva is coming to his own house and Ganesh is saying you can't enter unless your name is in the list. Shiva realized he has a lot of intelligence. But the problem with that intelligence is that it should ideally have the ability to discriminate right and wrong. So many times people have buddhi, but they don't have the ability to discriminate right and wrong. And Lord Shiva felt, what is the use of such an intelligence? And he cut off the head of Ganesh. So when the head of Ganesh got cut off, Parvati Devi comes and she finds, her son lying dead over there. She asks him, what nonsense? Why did you kill my son? Lord Shiva says, usually husband and wife together give birth to a son. Here I have no contribution only. And the son is born like that. Parvati said, nothing doing. I want my son back to life. Get him back to life. So Lord Shiva went, got the head of an elephant and put it on the body of Lord Ganesh. The elephant is supposed to be a very dull animal, It's a big mass of ignorance, right? So Lord Shiva realized that Ganesh has lot of buddhi, lot of intelligence, but he has less faith. So his contribution to Ganesh was the head. And so his contribution was buddhi, was faith. So Parvati gave intelligence and Shiva gave faith. And that combination of buddhi and vishwas, faith and intelligence, is what is devotion. Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita says, Aham sarvasya prabho matas sarvam pravartate iti matva bhajante mam bodha bhava samanvitaha. So in this verse, he says, Aham sarvasya prabho. He says, everything in this world, everything in this creation originates from me. I am all pervading. And mata sarvam pravartate, everything originates from me. Iti matva bhajante mam. Anyone who understands this and worships me, then he uses a very intelligent phrase. He says, Buddha bhava samanvitaha. Buddha refers to buddhi, intelligence. And bhava refers to emotions or faith. And samanvitaha means combination. So when we do bhakti, when we do bhakti, it has to be done with a combination of intelligence and faith. It has to be done with a combination of buddhi and bhava. So Lord Shiva, he put that elephant's head on top. That was his contribution of faith. And Parvati Devi created the body. And that was her contribution of intelligence, right? That's what bhakti is all about. To help us understand this even better, I want to give you all a beautiful analogy, or rather a beautiful story from the Ramayana that will bring this entire concept to life for all of you. And this is a story of Hanumanji and how Hanumanji is the ideal combination of both these aspects, and how he's teaching us to use both these aspects in the service to the Lord. So when all the Vanaras are in search of Mother Sita, there is a very intense search going on. Haribol. There's a very intense search going on for finding Sita. And the Vanaras, specifically that are going in the southern direction, are headed by Angad. In that group is Hanumanji, In that group is Jambavan. In that group is Nala, Neela. So many of these Vanaras are there. And all these Vanaras are searching for Mother Sita. They move from Kishkinda towards the south. So when they start their journey, they meet Lord Ram, and Lord Ram blesses all of them. And the interesting thing is that all the Vanaras, when they start their journey, they are very excited that they're going to find Sita. And they're very confident that they're going to find Sita. In fact, they think they're going to find Sita today only. So they are headed by Angad, who is the leader among them. And Angad represents intelligence. And in that group is Hanumanji, who represents faith. He's Shivansh, right? So he is exactly like Shiva, a lot of faith. So Angad, he decides to lead the group. He goes right in the front. And Hanuman is right at the back of the group. In the beginning of your spiritual journey, intelligence should be in the front and faith should be at the back. So when all these Vanaras go in search for Sita, they go with great confidence led by Angad. Now the interesting thing in this is that in the beginning of their journey, they are very enthusiastic. So they search high and low. They go on top of mountains. They climb trees. They jump inside rivers. They practically are searching every corner of the place. One day they search very enthusiastically. They couldn't find Sita. Second day they search. They couldn't find Sita. Third day they search. They couldn't find Sita. After 30 days of searching like this, they all figure out that it's impossible to find Sita. They all lose faith. They all lose confidence. And they reach a forest. Valmiki calls this forest as a forest of doubts. They reach a forest which is very dense, very, very hot, and there is no water there, there is no fruits there. It's a very intense place. And the Vanaras, they give up. They say, we can't do it. All of us, we are exactly like these Vanaras. And we are all searching for Sita. Sita represents Bhakti Devi. So all of us are searching for Mother Sita in one sense, and we are all like monkeys. In the beginning of our spiritual journey, we are all very enthusiastic. Tomorrow only we'll become pure devotee, Tomorrow only we'll perfect our life, And as we do go ahead, we spend 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years. Suddenly we start realizing, I don't think Sita exists. I don't think, we can ever do it, We lose confidence. We lose faith. And we start getting so many doubts. Some of the Vanaras are saying, does Sita actually exist? Some of the Vanaras are saying, why are we wasting time doing all this? Each one of them are having their own doubts. But Hanumanji was the only person who had complete faith that we will find Sita. And the interesting thing is that the Vanaras are experiencing heat. They were experiencing so much of heat. But Hanumanji was not experiencing any heat at all. Because when the Vanaras left from Kishkinda, Lord Ram blessed all of them. And Lord Ram kept his hand on top of everyone's head to give blessings. When he kept his hand on Hanumanji's head, Hanumanji closed his eyes and savored the experience of Ram's hand on his head. And throughout the whole journey, everywhere Hanuman was going, he was experiencing the hand of Ram on his head. And that was, kind of giving him the shade from all the heat that they were experiencing. And finally, after a lot of search, they come across a huge cave. So when they come across this massive cave, it's a deep, dark cave. At that time, Angad was right in the front. He says, I can't do it. Vanara says, what do you mean by you can't do it? Angad said, I can't enter a cave. Vanara said, why? He said, all the problems in my father's life began with cave only. Vali, he entered one cave like this. Sugriva and Vali were chasing a demon named Mayavi. and Mayavi entered into a cave. And Vali ran behind him, chasing him inside the cave. He told Sugriv, stand outside the cave, don't come in. Vali went in the cave, and for 1 year he didn't come out. And eventually Sugriv heard a sound which was terrible, and he assumed that Vali is dead. And Sugriv covered the cave with a huge rock and he went home. But actually Vali was not dead, Mayavi was dead. And then Vali thought that Sugriv was, he's attempted to kill him. And then Vali began to fight with Sugriv, and then eventually Ram killed Vali. So Angad realized, if Vali didn't go inside the cave, his life would have been so nice. So Angad said, I can't take a risk. I want to enter into the cave. So when Angad said, I can't enter into the cave, that's when Hanumanji came in. And he said, I'll go in. In the beginning of the spiritual journey, Angad was in the front and Hanumanji was right at the back. Right? So in the beginning of your spiritual journey, intelligence should be ahead and faith should be behind. A lot of people begin their spiritual journey by putting faith on the front. And that's when they experience really bad experiences. I don't know how many of you all know of some strange Babas in India, who do really strange things. There's one Baba, if you go to him for solution to any problem that you face, he will tell you, distribute 100 samosas. You'll be fine. And people actually do that. They actually go and distribute 100 samosas. And they feel, wow, my problem is solved. This is putting your faith in the front and intelligence at the back. A lot of people begin their spiritual journey by keeping the intelligence behind and keeping faith in the front. And they are the ones who have bad experiences in life. But when you begin your spiritual journey, you should keep your intelligence ahead and faith behind. Hanuman is faith personified. He's Pavanaputra, right? So when you're going forward and wind is blowing from behind, it pushes you forward faster, isn't it? But if wind is blowing from front, it slows you down. So Hanuman was right at the back of the group, pushing everyone ahead. But at this point, when that cave came in, Angad said, I can't do it. There will be some problems in your life that your intelligence cannot help you with. We all come across problems in our life where intelligence doesn't work. Whenever you come across problems in life where intelligence doesn't work, that's the time to bring faith ahead and put your intelligence behind. Angad went right at the back and Hanumanji came right at the front. And Hanumanji walked in straight into the cave. Dark cave, no lights. Hanuman didn't have a mobile phone, switch on his light. Nothing. He just walked in straight with the faith that Lord Ram is there to guide me. And the monkey that was just behind Hanumanji caught the tail of Hanumanji and walked in behind him. And the monkey behind him caught the tail of the second monkey and walked in. The third monkey caught the tail of the fourth monkey caught the tail of the third monkey and walked in. Like that, one by one, all the Vanaras walked in, one after another. And in the end, Angad walked in. The first monkey that walked in, Hanumanji that walked in, had full faith in God. The monkey that walked in behind him had only faith in him. He didn't have faith in God and all. This is called Guru Parampara. Guru Parampara means someone ahead has full faith in God. I only catch the dhoti of the fellow who is in front of me. That's all. And that person is catching the dhoti of somebody in front of him. And that person is catching the dhoti of somebody in front of him. And somebody ahead is catching the dhoti of Prabhupada. That's what the whole journey is, basically. Hanumanji had full faith that Ram is there to guide me. And he walked in completely, taking shelter of Lord Ram. One time, there was one person who was a Varkari. I don't know if you all know who Varkaris are. Varkaris are people who are having extremely wonderful faith in Lord Vitthal. And they, most of them are from Maharashtra. And they have this tradition that every year these Varkaris together go on a pilgrimage to Pandharpur on Ashadha Ekadasi day. So many of them walk down to Pandharpur. They walk down for like months together. Imagine walking down from one part of Maharashtra to the other barefooted. So this one person has been following this Varkari system for 75 years. Every single year for 75 years, he would walk down to Pandharpur and reach on Ashadha Ekadasi day. So one intelligent reporter asked him, have you seen Vittal go so far? 75 years you have been going. Have you experienced Vittal once at least? Have you seen Vittal once at least? This Varkari person, instead of giving him a direct answer, he asked him a question. He said, are there dogs in your street? In India, in every street there are a certain number of dogs. Huh? And those dogs are the kings of the street, basically. So human beings are just living there. These dogs actually own the street. So this man said, yes, so many dogs are there in my street. And this Varkari person, he asked this reporter, he said, have you noticed when one dog barks, all other dogs start barking? He said, yes, I've seen so many nights I've not slept because of that. So he said, the first dog that barks has seen some thief, or has seen something suspicious, because of which he starts barking. All other dogs bark because they have faith in this one dog. So he said, if dogs can have faith in each other like this, I may not have seen Vittal, but somebody ahead has seen Vittal. I am only having faith in that person, that's all. Very interesting way of looking at it, isn't it? So I may not have faith in God, but there is somebody ahead of me who has faith. My role is simply to hold the tail of the person who is ahead of me. That's it. That's what the whole idea of bhakti is. That's what the whole idea of Guru Parampara is. So when Hanumanji walked in straight into the cave, they reached a massive opening, and this massive opening it led to like a garden, a beautiful garden and a beautiful palace. And the Vanas are surprised that inside a cave such a huge structure exists. And then they saw that the entire palace and the gardens were empty. There was only one lady sitting there with, in Padmasan with her legs folded, wrapped in attention, meditating. And the Vanaras went and approached her. And this lady, when they reached, she opened her eyes and she said, welcome, I've been waiting for all of you. The Vanaras were surprised. How did she know that they are coming? She introduced herself as Swayam Prabha. And she told the Vanaras, I've been waiting for all of you. And I know all of you are exhausted and tired and hungry. Let me arrange a good meal for all of you. And in the next instant, hundreds of plates of fruits and all kinds of drinks and so much food was there. The Vanaras jumped and attacked and ate so much. And some of the Vanaras, they felt, we don't want to go anywhere. We want to stay here only. Forget Ram, forget Sita. We are happy here, We don't want to go out from here. Swayam Prabha spoke to the Vanaras and she told them that I know that you all are searching for Mother Sita. And I'll help you all. She said, by my yogic powers, I can transport you all from here. So she said, the only thing that you'll have to do is close your eyes. Just close your eyes and don't open your eyes till I tell you. The Vanaras said, yes, we'll close our eyes. And all of them closed their eyes. Have you ever seen a monkey close its eyes for more than a few seconds? Obviously now, the Vanaras, when they close their eyes, they all experience the flying at full speed. And some of them, they couldn't contain it and they opened their eyes. When they opened their eyes, they saw that they were outside the cave, but they were on top of a mountain. And the mountain led to a huge ocean in front. If the Vanaras had kept their eyes closed a little more, they probably would have reached Lanka also. But somehow they just didn't have the patience to keep their eyes closed. In the Ramayana, closing of the eyes indicates having faith. Now tell me one thing. If there is a situation which seems dangerous, can you keep your eyes closed? Obviously not, isn't it? Like in the Srimad Bhagavatam, we find the story of Krishna and all his friends, they were in the forest. And while they were in the forest, there was a massive forest fire. And all the friends ran to Krishna and told him, please save us. And you know what Krishna told all of them? Close your eyes. And all the boys kept their eyes closed. And Krishna converted the entire forest fire into one drop of nectar and swallowed it. And then he told them, open your eyes. And when they opened their eyes, they saw they were in a totally different section of the forest. The difference between the boys and the monkeys is that the boys had faith and they didn't open their eyes. And the monkeys had no faith and they opened their eyes. Now, we have to decide whether we are the boys or we are the monkeys. Most of us, we are monkeys, isn't it? Very fickle faith. Very little. I mean, what does the forest fire indicate? The fire indicates problems in life. The fire indicates crisis in life. The fire indicates so much of uncertainty in life. And we all have experiences of that in our life, isn't it? And in those moments, what is expected of us? What is expected of us is simply that we close our eyes and pray. And mystically, the forest fire gets resolved. Mystically, your problem gets solved. Now, obviously, this faith is not blind faith. There is a big difference between blind faith and reasonable faith. The scriptures never recommend blind faith, but the scriptures recommend reasonable faith. Reasonable faith means what? Till a certain point, you come ahead using your intelligence and keeping faith behind. But when you come across a certain situation in life where intelligence cannot help you, that time you bring the faith in the front and put your intelligence behind. That's what is called reasonable faith. The Vanaras here are teaching us how to have faith in God. Now the Vanaras, they reach the ocean and there's this massive ocean in front of them. They come to know through Sampati that Sita is in the middle of the ocean in an island named Lanka. Now the question is how to reach there. All the Vanaras, they are totally confused because they have never seen an ocean so big. So all of them start talking about how much they can do. It's Jambavan, who is the leader among them, and Angad. They start asking all the Vanaras, please tell us what is your capacity. One Vanara says, I can do 10 miles. Another said, I can do 20 miles. Another said, I can do 50 miles. Another said, I can do 100 miles. So each one kept telling what is their capacity. And finally, Angad said, I can do 800 miles. But Angad said, I'm not sure if I can come back. So what's the point in reaching Lanka not being able to come back? Jambavan understood why Angad cannot come back. The problem was not energy. The problem was not capacity. Angad had capacity to go and come back also. But the problem was, Angad is Vali Putra, the son of Vali. And because he is the son of Vali, Angad is not sure if he reaches the golden city of Lanka, whether he will want to come back. It's like going to Las Vegas. If you're not sure, don't go there. If you're not sure that you'll be able to come back, then don't go there, So Angad at least was honest. He's saying, I might go, but I'm not sure if I'll come back. Better not try only. So all the Vanaras were very disappointed. They didn't know what to do. And at that point in time, Jambavan saw that Hanuman had not spoken at all. Jambavan goes, sits next to Hanuman and begins to remind Hanuman of his powers. And as Jambavan is reminding Hanuman of his powers, slowly Hanuman starts realizing his powers and he becomes huge in size. And then he gets the confidence. He says, I'll do it. Now, the interesting thing that the Acharyas explain is why did Hanuman not speak his capacity? And all of them are saying, I can do this much, I can do that much. Why did Hanuman not say at all? The reason Hanuman did not speak at all was because Hanuman felt that the question itself is wrong. What is the question? The question was, how much can you do? Right? Hanuman considered himself to be like an arrow. How far an arrow can go, does it depend on the arrow? Obviously not. It depends on who's shooting the arrow, isn't it? If a small child shoots the arrow will fall here only. But if Lord Ram shoots the arrow, how far the arrow can go? There's no limit. It can go across the universe. So Hanuman, how far he can go doesn't depend on him. It depends on Ram who's going to shoot the arrow. Therefore, Hanuman didn't give the answer only. And then when Hanuman actually jumped, taking the name of Lord Ram, he jumped with so much confidence, with so much faith. The story of Hanuman and his transformation and this journey of Hanuman is a journey of this fine balance between faith and intelligence. All of us, we have both. We have buddhi also and we have vishwas also. All of us have intelligence also and we have our heart also. The intelligence is supposed to guide us in finding the right path. But once we have the right path, to walk on that path we need faith. There will be times in our life where intelligence doesn't help us. There will be problems in our life that intelligence cannot help us solve. Whenever you come across such situations in life, that's a time to bring faith in and put intelligence behind. The solutions that are told may not make sense to you intelligently using your intelligence. But just do it. Why? Because you have faith that the process works. When you have faith that the process works, apparently something may not be logical. But just do it. With time, you will actually see it works. With time, you will actually experience it work. In bhakti, if you understand everything, then you are God literally. Isn't it? In the Srimad Bhagavatam, the story of Brahma Vimohan Leela. Lord Brahma thought he was very intelligent. When Lord Krishna was in the forest with all his friends, Brahma saw Krishna playing with his friends in the forest. And he thought, what is this? Will God behave like this? Will God play such small, tiny games with his friends? Brahma was totally confused and he decided to test Krishna. And he stole the boys and the calves and put them in a cave. And Krishna expanded himself into as many boys and as many calves there were. Not only expanded himself into the boys and the calves, but he also expanded himself into the tiffin boxes that they were carrying. When the kids and the calves and the boys went home back, their mothers loved their children even more. The cows loved their calves even more. The mothers are not able to understand why we're loving our child so much more. Even when they're washing the tiffin boxes, they're washing with so much love. They never wash the tiffin box with so much love in their life. Usually they'll throw the tiffin box here and there. But that day, they never threw the tiffin box. They with so much care and love touching the tiffin boxes. Because they all love Krishna. And finally, when Brahma came back after 1 year, so the time duration was very small for him. But the time duration in Brahma Loka and in earth is very different. He just came back in a few moments. But on earth, 1 year passed. And for 1 year, Krishna had expanded into all these boys and calves and, and Brahma was bewildered, completely bewildered. He saw here, the boys and calves were there. He looked up in the cave, they were there also. And Brahma was wondering, what is going on? And in his bewilderment, he went back to Brahmaloka. When he went to Brahmaloka, he was stopped at the gate of Brahmaloka. The guard asked him, who are you? Brahma said, who are you mean what? I am Brahma, I am the head of this place. The guard said, Brahma already told me that you are going to come. And you are an imposter Brahma. The original Brahma is sitting inside. And Brahma saw inside, one Brahma was already there. He was totally bewildered. He didn't know what's happening. Below the calves also there, the boys also there, and on top one Brahma is also there, And then when he was completely confused, right in front of his eyes, he saw all of these entities transform into Krishna. The Brahma also became Krishna. The boys also became Krishna. The calves also became Krishna. And all of them merged into the original Krishna. And then Brahma comes and offers beautiful prayers to Krishna. And one of the prayers that Brahma offers is that, my dear Lord, I have understood one thing, that I understand nothing. Someday, we have to come to this conclusion. The day we come to this conclusion, that's the day we begin our spiritual journey. Till the day we think, I know everything, you're just a kid. The day you understand that you understand nothing, that's when you become mature in your spiritual journey. Of course, all of us, we are all just taking baby steps in our spiritual journey and trying to understand Krishna, trying to understand the path of spirituality. But let us practice this path very nicely and sincerely so that one day we develop the maturity to understand that I understand nothing. Thank you very much. Any quick questions, comments? So I'm going to quickly introduce all of you all to my books. I have written almost close to about 60 books now. Some of the books are here. In the last few years, I realized that it's good that I make introduction of my books, because when people go to the bookstall, they don't understand anything about any book, They are just confused. So I prefer to introduce some of my books to you all so that you can understand what these books are and then accordingly take these books. Can you just give me one of these books? Just pass this. So I've written a series of books called Ramayana, the Game of Life. Just like how I have been sharing with all of you, I have written the entire Ramayana in 6 volumes, where the story of the Ramayana is flowing in the form of a very fast-paced narrative. But along with that, there are lessons that you can learn for in life. This book series is a very, very famous series across the world now. Thousands of youngsters and thousands of people have been reading these books and have derived a great benefit from these books. So this book series called Ramayana, the Game of Life, each volume is one kand of the Ramayana. And each book has at least 200 to 300 life lessons that you can learn and apply through the story of Ramayana. So this is the first series that I highly recommend all of you all to get a hold of. It's called Ramayana, the Game of Life. It has 6 volumes. Each one has one kand of the Ramayana. In addition to that, I have this very interesting book. It's called 5.5 Ways to Lasting Relationships. This book has 6 love stories from our scriptures. Each love story talks about how people fell in love, but more importantly, how they stayed in love. In today's world of love at first sight and divorce at first fight, this is a very good book to have. I highly recommend anybody who is married, who is about to get married, who is thinking of getting married, and anybody who you know is going to get married, please give them a copy of this book. It will save many marriages. This is a book on Lord Shiva. This book has a lot of stories on Lord Shiva that probably you would never know of. There are stories of all the Jyotirlings and so many beautiful stories to explain Shiva Tattva to all of you. I have another book called The Little Blue Book on Krishna. This is one of my favorite books. This has so many stories on Krishna's life. And these are all unheard stories from Vrindavan that you will love and will help you fall in love with Krishna. This is one of my latest books. It's called Nam Ramayan. This book has 108 names of Lord Ram, and through these 108 names of Lord Ram, the entire Ramayana is explained. And for every name of Lord Ram, there is a meditation on one of the qualities of Lord Ram. So it's a very beautiful book to have, and it will help you meditate on different aspects of Ramayana through stories. I have written several kids' books, almost about 30 or 35 children books. Some of them are here. Here is a very beautiful one. It's called the Illustrated Mahabharata for Children. This has the entire Mahabharata in beautiful illustrations which children will love reading. This is a very special book called 100 Vedic Women. Most people feel that Vedic scriptures don't talk about women at all. This book will prove them wrong. This is not one or two, this is 100 Vedic women. Again, it's an illustrated book, so every story is explained through beautiful illustrations. And finally, this last book here is called the Illustrated Ramayana for Children. The entire Ramayana with beautiful illustrations, just like the Mahabharata. So I highly recommend all of you all to have a look at all these books. These books are all worth having in your library, and these books are worth giving as gifts. I highly recommend all of you all to take a vow today that whenever you go for birthdays and marriages and any functions, please don't give any other gifts other than books. All the plastic items and soft toys and whatever you give gets thrown over time. But books will be preserved for a lifetime. In fact, many generations will have these books. So please always give books as gifts, because these are, the knowledge that we want to preserve is being passed through these books. So I have written these books in a style that works for the younger generation also, and in a style that a modern reader can read and understand and digest them very nicely. So please explore the books. If anybody has any quick questions before we end now. Yes, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much for coming. It's just unbelievable to see you here and giving us your association, speaking from Ramayana. I was contemplating on Hanumanji's service mood, and I was thinking like how can I learn from him to protect from being proud of like doing this amazing service for Lord Rama. Like if we do a little bit, feels like, oh, I'm so great, right? That feeling seeps in so easily. How would you like to explain?
I'll tell you a story to help us understand how Hanuman does that. So when the Vanaras were leaving from Kishkinda to search for Mother Sita, at that time all of them are coming and taking blessings of Lord Ram. At that time, Hanuman touched the feet of Lord Ram. And when Hanuman touched the feet of Lord Ram, he was holding both the feet of Ram with his hands. And Lord Ram held the shoulder of Hanumanji to pick him up. When Ram held his shoulders to pick him up, Hanuman told Lord Ram, let's stay like this. Ram was puzzled. What do you mean by that? He said, as long as my hands are at your feet, your hands will be on my shoulders. Now what does that mean? Hand at the feet of Lord means taking shelter of the Lord. Right? And Ram's hand on our shoulder means what? Shoulder is a place where we do all our action, isn't it? Whatever we do in life, it is by our shoulders, isn't it? And Ram's hand being on our shoulders means he's giving us the power and the ability to do whatever we do in life. So this one thought, that as long as our hand is on the feet of the Lord, His hands will be on our shoulders. So whatever we do in life, it is because the Lord is empowering us to do it. This one thought is what inspires Hanuman to remain humble. So the moment we lift our hand from the feet of the Lord, Lord lifts His hand from our shoulders. Isn't it? So as long as our hand is on the feet of the Lord, His hand will be on our shoulders. This one thought is what is inspiring Hanuman to remain humble. That means all our powers, all our strengths, all our abilities, all our intelligence is coming from the Lord only, isn't it? Thank you. Anything else? Any other questions or comments?
Thank you so much for churning the nectar on this combination of intelligence and faith, and how beautifully you have expressed that initially there should be intelligence in the front, faith in the back, and then as time progresses, intelligence fails us and then need to bring the faith back in. Now, this process of actually having intelligence in front, faith behind, and faith going front, intelligence behind, isn't this like a cycle as opposed to like
Yeah. So basically, always intelligence should be in the front and faith should be at the back. But in emergencies, And when we are in great difficulties, and especially when we are coming across situations in life where intelligence doesn't help, that's when the reverse happens.
Does intelligence and faith grow over time?
Yes.
Both.
Yes. Um, Basically, intelligence grows with study of scriptures, and faith grows with experience of powerful spiritual experiences. So, as we practice our spiritual life, we will have experiences that will help strengthen our faith.
And if one does not grow as fast as the other, will there be imbalance?
No, see, it's not about which is more and which is less. That's not the point. It's about depth of each of them. So you may have one spiritual experience, and that one experience can give you much more faith than hundreds of intellectual, study and analysis, basically. Yeah. Yes.
Hare Krishna. For those of us who have flip-flopped and done the faith first and then intelligence at the back, and that's why we're kind of burning out now, how do we fix that? How do we go back to what we're supposed to be?
Simply begin. Simply begin. Srila Prabhupada has so intelligently and so beautifully helped us connect with our scriptures by reading Srila Prabhupada's books, by listening to lectures, and satsangs, and taking guidance from teachers. We slowly strengthen our intelligence, and we develop the right kind of faith and a right kind of attitude, basically. So if you have started in a reverse way, it's fine. You can just begin by strengthening intelligence now. Okay. Thank you very much. Very, very yes, Mati.
So another question. In India, we say that Tuesday is the day of Hanumanji, right? Like
Yes.
worship. So what is the significance
Yeah.
behind that?
The significance is that when Mother Sita, Hanumanji came to Lanka, and he gave the message of Lord Ram to Mother Sita. At that time, Mother Sita was so happy with Hanumanji, and she was so grateful to Hanumanji that she blessed him that the day you have come here, that day you will be worshipped. Blessings of Mother Sita.
And today is Tuesday.
Oh, really? I didn't plan this. I didn't even realize it's just Hanumanji's blessings. Thank you. Okay. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. So tomorrow I'm going to be speaking at the temple, the Wednesday feast. And tomorrow I'm going to be speaking on Nam Ramayan, which is one of my latest books. And it is a lecture that will really touch your hearts. So please do come and join us for tomorrow's session. Thank you. Also on Thursday, I'm going to speak at MIT. And I'll be speaking on a subject called as Secrets of Lasting Relationships. It's a highly recommended lecture. So it's one of my most powerful and deepest lectures. So if any of you all want to come for that MIT session, you're most welcome. You all can get the addresses from our devotees here, and you can join in for that. Okay.
And I think Prabhu, you're coming here after like 6, 7,
4 or 5 years.
5 years?
I think
More than that, before COVID.
Yeah, 2018 or 19 I came, I think. For
6 years.
Yeah, okay.
So please take advantage of Prabhu's association. Rarely comes here.
In MIT, it's building 2, room 105. What time? 5:30 to 7 p.m. Just a second. Tomorrow it's 6 to 8, Temple Hall.
Thank you, Prabhu, for your valuable